Did I not promote the show tonight? I
No,
feel
I
like.
saw it.
Oh,
You were on my.
here come
You
the cops.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just got mine too. Hey, I don't know where everybody is. I
Hello,
Cindy
don't
Lou.
know.
hello.
Cindy Lou
Sin?
Who. They're. Everyone is trying to figure out how you're 29. That's where they are.
29 in her mind. That's the way it works.
Did
Hello,
she write in her
hello.
mind at the end?
I don't know how old Sin Lu Hu is. I thought she had a child
That's
or
the
something.
Ashley Stern
Not
age.
even really sure. All right. So.
That's right. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
right. That's right, Sin.
Showing up is
So,
half the battle.
Exactly.
so it was kind of curious to us when we started the show because I didn't see.
Yeah, they are.
Usually, I have like a couple of people here just saying, "Hey, what's going on?
There they
What's
are.
going on?" I
There's
was like,
Durden. There's
"Where's
Merlick. There's
everybody?"
Eldana. There's Cowie.
I
They're
know
fashionably late.
they're probably all bored with this already.
Oh well.
Honestly,
Welcome to our world.
Yes.
exactly. How do you think we feel about this? So it was an interesting show today, and
Interesting is being very kind.
interesting is the only word I can use because I'm not really sure how to um really define it. It was a couple of like weird moments. Oh, let me tell you what's on my shirt. Thank you. I love
How do you
animals.
define nothing, Monique? How do you define a show about nothing from a 79 IQ? How do you define that?
I
It's
define it by
garbage.
having three
Dumpster
of us
fire.
online and somehow miraculously being able to make an hour and a half out of this. That's what nothing is. So my shirt tonight is actually my pajamas. I actually have sweatpants on underneath it, but this is the pajama that KC bought me for
Ooh la
Christmas.
la. So
And
And
French.
it's classically weird because it's Beth's face, but it's cut off at the top. So whatever graphic he chose to make this out of, and I said to Xavier, I was like, I could have given him like a perfect version of this in PNG for him to use. But half the fun is the fact that it's ridiculous, and it's got like
Yes.
little dog bones on it and little dog paws,
from
and
Top Model, we should say that picture's
that-
from. That's Beth's.
Soon available from the Helen Rose collection.
But
Yeah.
I
Natural
tell
Animal
you,
Rings.
it's extremely comfortable, and
Thank you,
yeah, I kind of love it.
Made in Port Jefferson. Katie Aldana with the Long Island reference. I don't know if you're from Long Island or you just remember that, but that's a great callback to a Long Island town where Beth bilked middle school kids out of their lunch money for her fraudulent, awful, dumb charity that they
Katie
write off.
Aldana wants to know, will you guys have a show next week while Wig is on vacay? Very good question. It won't be these kind of shows. I was actually relieved when I thought I think that he'll be on vacation. I was actually kind of relieved because doing these shows, you may not realize it, but it's a ton of work. I mean, it's a ton of work to actually even listen to the show, but it's a ton of, yeah, the floating Beth heads, exactly. But it's just kind of like a weird thing to do, to kind of like mine in the mire of muck that is the Howard Stern show, to find something that makes sense for us to do a show on. I don't know
Judy-
how we get to an hour and a half every time we do it, but here we are.
Our buddy
Some-
Judy
some-
Tanuna in the chat says, like Arm says, you get stupider listening to each show. Without a doubt, you lose your brain. No, you never don't. But Monique, you watch Stephanie Rule's show, and she starts it off by going, "Let's get smarter," like pompously looks into the camera, and goes, "All right, everyone, let's get smarter." This is "Let's get stupider." When you watch it, that's what Howard
Yes,
should
of
say before
course.
every show.
Of course, and the reality is we are stupider for listening to the show. We are. I mean,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is, I love when Xavier comes on the show with us because well, let's be honest, me and John, even a lot of times when we would do Weeks in Review, we didn't listen to the show, like, at all.
Well, I would
And then-
fish what Dennis's timestamps, and then I would
I
go
don't
through.
need to listen to know what's going on. A lot of nothing.
Yeah, okay. So I know
Some
the
February's off.
Yeah, the Eric the Midget show. Okay, it's not going to be a show. So I've had long talks with myself about this, and I think that Eric the Midget needs to be a compilation of shows. Like it needs to be a like Roots, if you will. It'll just be something that is like a mini series, because there's so many like specific moments that need to be honed in on about Eric. it's almost too much. It's definitely too much for one show,
It would
and it's definitely too much for two shows.
it would be my pleasure. I can wield a cleaning out the computer like nobody's business with so much stuff for people who maybe not sick of a thing, and it's so much stuff you haven't heard all over the place. Great clips of Kathy
Let's do that
Griffin
next week. That's a perfect clean out the
drilling
computer.
Howard about his charities he doesn't do. So it's just great. It's just the variety of it, just jumping from era to era and stuff. I got so much written down, and we could throw it together, and no problem.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, so yes, a mini series on Eric the Midget will be perfect. So this dude who I think is on here most of the time contacted me on Gmail and said that he has pretty much every single Eric the Midget clip ever, and he would be happy to help us kind of cut it together. So I basically told him that it really needs to be kind of condensed. Like, what was his girlfriend's name?
Eric's?
Yeah, or his
Brandy
girlfriend.
Talor?
No, not Brandy.
Kelly Clarkson?
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking
Kendra.
about?
Kendra?
Oh, Ken.
Right. So the whole Kendra saga is like its own thing. And then when Eric becomes an actor is its own thing.
That's right. I
And his
forgot about that.
demands and all the stuff that he wanted. And then Eric, which was, brilliant before its time, doing a podcast about American Idol. And, I mean, I know a lot of people called us the Eric the Midget of podcasts as well,
That's
but
a compliment.
he had a lot of issues. And then when Johnny Fratto came onto the scene, and he became like a more of a caricature of himself. And I think the Eric I've always hated him, so I don't really care. But I think that he jumped the shark at that point.
Tanuta asks if we're Xavier and I are where we stand on Eric the Midget. Like, I think it's exactly like you said. It's polarizing, love him or hate him. I'm actually in the middle. I'm not on the fence guy, but I think it's actually original to say you're on the fence. I'm in the middle with him. There's some things I love about him. Calling Richard a hick and answering back to Howard when nobody else did. But I think Howard used him as a crutch, especially when Artie left. And the amount of minutes he occupied, it was the laziest that you'd go to Eric, and just the Schadenfreudeness of it all, and the low-hanging fruit. He was interesting to an extent, but Howard beats everything to death, so he doesn't have to do any heavy lifting. I don't know where I stand. I don't. I'm all over the place with Eric.
Xavier?
You know what? I used to hate the little guy, but once he was gone, I mean, the vacuum that it created on that show, I didn't realize how absolutely devoid of any sort of content. I mean,
I'd kill for an Eric segment now.
He literally
right?
carried that show for what? He was on for like 6 years.
I'd
or whatever
kill
it was.
for an Eric segment now.
I mean, for as annoying as he was, and for how they manipulated him into whatever, man, the show is absolutely just dog shit without him. I mean, that was like the last bullet left in the chamber for the show.
Eric the actor never jumped sharks as Kylo Sierra Alpha. When he teamed up with Fratto, he became 10 times more interesting, and all the memorable Eric the actor stories are from the Fratto era. But I feel like Eric was then putting it on a little bit more. Like, it became that he was a caricature of himself as opposed to the honest and real. Listen, I'm not even joking when I tell you that I would put Stern on, first thing in the morning. As soon as I woke up, as soon as my eyes popped open, I would make sure that I had it on at like 6 a.m. And then by the time I would jump in the shower, I had another radio in the bathroom with me. And then I swear to God, if Eric came on, it didn't even matter if I had soap in my eyes or shampoo in my hair. I would run out of the shower and change the channel. I just could not listen to him.
If anybody has 85 hours to kill, go back through the Eric years and look at how much time they occupied on this guy. So much so that I think he deserved Artie's salary. I mean, it is when I went back and I'm looking for stuff to do on the Eric shows, it's every day. It's 45 minutes. It's an hour. It's 20. There's never that. He's literally on air more than anybody on the staff.
Yes. But that was before they really had like all staff, all hands on deck. I call you in and you run. It was so pick on Gary, and then he
But-
had enough going on. I mean, he still had interviews where he would just do it on the radio and they wouldn't come in person. He still had interviews where he would maybe do 2 people on the same day.
Three.
Three.
I see shows from 2002. There's 4 guests on the same day.
Yes, so it's just a different era and a different time. And the curious thing about what's going on now, and what makes me think that thank God he'll be on vacation next week, is the fact that he has made the last 3 shows completely wackpack intensive, if you will, all leading into the wackpack thing that they're doing next week on 101. And so when he's doing like a compilation of, greatest hits, that it's time for him to go on vacation.
There's a great comment here.
Mo, you nailed it. You
What?
said era. The Howard Stern show from Billy West to the end of Eric the Midget, you had people on there that would call Howard an asshole, that would call him out, and would have arguments with him. Eric was literally the last guy left that could call Howard an a-hole, and for as weird as he was, he at least got that in. When he died, literally not one person was left on that staff that has the balls to call Howard out on anything.
Yeah, David the violinist says, I would argue Eric the Midget was the overdone bit that enabled Howard to avoid getting with the social media obligations of the 2010s, and thus the show became irrelevant fast.
It's kind of what this is just Sizzle Chest being Sizzle Chest up here. He writes, most of the whackpackers are remember K-Fab, Monique, your wrestling friend?
Oh, yeah,
It's the wrestling term. Remember when Crackhead Bob learned to talk when he came on the show? Yeah, there's tons of fakery in there, and everyone's gay now, right? Everyone's coming out of the closet, and you can't get on the show as a whackpacker unless you out yourself. That's the new. I mean, do you ever think Captain Jenks would come out of the closet? What is that? What is that? Joey Boots. On and
Why am I whispering? Is that what you're saying?
Who said that? We can barely hear
Text
him.
a hoe.
Text a hoe. You know what?
You
have the same mic as me. Put yourself on like 2 o'clock.
You know what? I do that under protest.
He's not whispering. He just Xavier is our ASMR guy.
Yeah.
This is what he
We're
does.
gonna be talking about the weather for the next.
Yeah, he'll call me at like 11 o'clock and at night and tell me what the weather is and make me fall asleep.
Oh, glad you asked, because it's gonna be a balmy minus 16 degrees in Vermont tonight.
I'm kidding. I'm really kidding.
Did you say 2 o'clock, Monique?
No, I said 11 o'clock.
No. You said 2 o'clock is like a military.
Listen, I see my levels. Sorry.
I just said, I guess you've already mentioned Howard was the subject on The View today. No, don't even know about that.
No, I didn't know. That usually comes up at some point.
Look at us, 3 of us, and we have absolutely no idea.
Who mentioned that?
Duh.
Ida Greenbacks just mentioned it. And
I love don't you love Ida DVR on The View every day? This one day, Joy Behar's in the shop. She goes, "Where the fuck is Joy?"
Do you know Joy Behar grew up in my neighborhood?
Who didn't grow up in your neighborhood at this point?
No, don't you remember? I don't know if you know anything about Joy Behar.
She's a teacher.
But she's her family ran like an Italian produce store on Metropolitan Avenue, and she used to come visit all the time. I used to see her all the time. She was never a fetching woman, but she was really nice. She was totally cool. Oh, I just said they were talking about the Joe Rogan controversy. Oh, damn it! I wish I had that clip. I would love to
see, he got what he wanted.
Yeah. Well,
he
from The View.
COVID and Joe. And
did Sunny Hostin bring up Howard using the N-word in blackface? I hope she does her callback when she called him out the first time. That was so. I love the way Sonny said that to him. Goes, "You're the one who, you like to say the N-word a lot and stuff. You're the guy."
And he's like, "Me? What? Who does that? Me? Are you kidding me?"
She's like, "No, I heard you. I used to listen a little bit. I definitely heard you use the N-word. There's no mistaking that." And then Whoopi's like, "Now let him talk here. Let him get it out. Let him explain himself."
Hi, Jordan, who says, "Hi, Monique." You know, did I tell you about the time that my mother got? Oh no, that my first boss ever got me tickets to go see Whoopi Goldberg. Well, she was supposed to go with her girlfriend, aka wife, aka person that you're not supposed to know that she's a gigantic bulldog. And she couldn't go, and she's like, Monique, I got these tickets for Whoopi Goldberg. Do you want to go and see her? And I started young in this business, so I was maybe like 19 or something. I'm like, oh, cool, okay, yeah. And I called my mom because she's my best friend, and I said, Mommy, do you want to go see
She loves
Whoopi?
bulldogs.
You want to go see Whoopi Goldberg? She's like, sure, let's go. So she comes into the city, and we go see this. And I swear to God, I didn't get the jokes. Like I didn't understand the funny.
Whoopi's like Robin Williams. She's a great dramatic actress, but you could care less about her comedy.
Robin Williams is different though because he was like very frenetic and he was so ad-libby.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just strictly comedy.
He was a cokehead.
Yep.
Yeah, but he was frenetic,
He was
and
a genius,
whereas
but
Whoopi
he's a total crackhead.
is like a weirdo. Like I didn't get the jokes.
Yeah,
Kinda like
it's
if
more.
If Whoopi was a white male and her name was Dane Cook, it would be just as bad.
Well, did she hide behind the auspices like a lot of people do, where they don't have one woman show instead of calling it stand up? You say one, right?
Whoopi.
So you don't
No, not
really
even
have
Whoopi
to
Goldberg,
be funny
just
when you say
Whoopi.
when you say one man show or one woman show. You don't add
Don't
the
even
pressure
have to
do
say
comedy.
that. It's just Whoopi on Broadway. Whoopi.
This is fascinating.
It is not fascinating.
This
Yeah,
is
Whoopi's totally
fascinating.
affected, and I don't get her, and I would never watch The View because I dislike her greatly. And well, I wouldn't watch The View anyway. I'd literally sooner read a book than watch any like daytime TV. All right, so we have a lot of clips that we need to get to.
It's been a crazy year. I spent most of the year looking for Waldo, and the rest of the year looking for sex. And I'm not talking about Madonna's book.
One of the
I did that to my dad once. He went to see Billy Crystal.
He's another one. I know I got in trouble last time I said this, but I hate Jewish comedians.
I almost spit my
anyway,
soda out. I almost spit my
I gotta
except
go,
Larry
guys.
David.
I
Look
get
at
so
the
much shit for
time.
that.
This is a weird.
You like Larry David?
I love Larry David. He's
That's
not
the
a
one.
comedian. He's not somebody you would see at Grossinger's. I remember me and my family went to Grossinger's once and we're like, Grossinger, what the hell is this place? And, I was the only Italian Puerto Rican there. There's a bunch of Jewish kids with their families and, sit down. There were kosher tables
look,
and
it's
everything like that.
Monique.
It was just a weird thing, but I
he thinks
just
she's
don't
better
understand.
than us.
Oh my God, Abe Tookus knows me. Who is Abe Tookus? Mo Reserves Hate for Family. You're exactly right. I dislike female Jewish comedians, put it that way. I just think that I actually don't like female comedians at all.
Well, they
I think
all
they
do
try
the
too
same
hard.
thing
I
now.
know,
That's sort
Ida.
of-
I know.
Oh, come on. You didn't like that one song, I Fucked Matt Damien?
Damien. Affleckian and Damien.
Mo, you didn't like Jackie Mason? No, not at all. Actually, the only time I ever met Jackie Mason, he was coming into a restaurant I was eating at, and he came in with what's his face? With oh geez, my mind is shot tonight. Lawyer dude that I interviewed.
Oh, Ratso?
No, lawyer guy.
Oh,
that I
Dominic.
interviewed.
Dominic Barber.
Dominic. He came in with
Really?
Dominic Barber. They came in a chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce, and they walk in like a bunch of big machas walking in the door, and larger than life. And I just remember Jack, and everybody's like, "Hey, nobody knew who Dominic was, but they all knew who Jackie was because he is super ginger.
Yeah.
Pale as can possibly be, tons of freckles. He was
Does he wear
already
makeup
dyeing his
in
hair
real life?
red, and he was, but packed with makeup.
Yeah.
Packed
I
with
saw him
makeup.
in Lincoln Square once. He's wearing
Yeah,
makeup.
it's just kind of weird. I hate Chelsea Handler. Yes, more than life itself. Actually, I detest Chelsea Handler.
Well, there's just that gaggle of chick female Jewish comedians. It's just like saying sexual, shocking things. They all are the same. They all have the same rhythms and
hate
same
Chelsea
baseline.
Handler. I'll never forget Chelsea Handler did this show where she was trying to get set up with different guys.
Yeah.
And so it's kind
Pansy.
of like a matchmaking show. And she sat down with this one guy, and he was so nice and he was so cute. And he's like, so, what do you like to do during like a regular day? She's like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah, yeah.
mean? What do I like to do during a regular day? Like, what's a regular day? There are no regular days for me. And she was so snotty
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah.
like,
Productive,
oh my God,
just
I would
yep,
seriously, I would have just
reflexively.
like smacked her in the face and
Yep.
walked out. Like, just such a dick. And so you knew when that personality came out that that's exactly who she is. What is Jeremy asking? Hey Monique, you can have Dominic back. It was such a good video and said he'd love to come back. I have to tell you something, Jeremy. I spoke to him often
Jeremy
after that,
spoke.
and he had so much good stuff that he wanted to get off his chest. And I thought that it would be like a really, really fun thing to do with him, just in terms of getting stuff that he wanted to either A, get off his chest about Howard, or B, just as like a testimonial to who he was as a lawyer, because he had a lot of like amazing clients, from like Joey, what's his face,
Botafuco.
Botafuco, and the woman who that horrible woman who drove the wrong way on the highway and killed all her
Yeah, yeah.
children. I mean, he had some really, really crazy
Anthony Cumia's wife.
clients. And yeah, and so I have called him. Every once in a while I think of him, and I'll call him and I'll leave him a message, and I've not heard from him. And I know he was having heart troubles, and then he had COVID. There were no death notices, but I know he was starting to date some woman, so I think he was getting kind of busy with that. But I was absolutely willing to go over to the West Coast, I mean to the East Coast, and go to Palm Beach and set up his like whole equipment for him.
Oh my
Get him a
God.
mic, put him up with like a computer. And I had spoken to Tim about it, and he's like, "You absolutely need to do this. This will be like a beautiful swan song for Dominic." But I've not heard from him, so I just don't know. And I don't really keep in touch with a lot of these people. I got to be honest with you. Every once in a while we'll chat with each other, or if I have like questions I want to ask them or something like that. But yeah, I would like to write Dominic a nice note. Matter of fact, I'm going to send him a text right this moment as I'm sitting here with my friends, because I
Oi,
miss him.
Monique, I loved you and Uncle Vanya. Fetching.
Dominic Barber. Yeah, look, I swear to you, look. This is how it works. That's all me. Hey, where are you? Hey, just checking in. Hey, what's happening? So yeah, that's all me. Hi, where are you? Where are you?
You're friendly with his ex-wife, though, right? Isn't she kind of cool?
Yes,
She's
I
like a
am.
bit of
Leslie.
a got a little Judith Regan in her, a bit of a
Yes, but she's much
Spitfire,
prettier.
legalese.
Yes, she's actually a really very, very noted
What's the age
divorce
difference?
attorney. Probably about 20 years.
Okay.
She's a noted divorce attorney in the city. She's at a really
Cutthroat.
good firm.
Right. What better place to be than Manhattan to be a divorce attorney? You're not going to go to
No better place to be. She gave me really good.
Sudbury, Canada.
She gave me really good advice too. All right, we're gonna start this show, and we have a lot of clips. John came.
Whoa.
I literally had 5 clips.
I
John
usually
came
hate
in with
fat
12.
shaming. I usually hate fat jokes. But Bruce Tomaszewski about Dominic Barber. Look at what he says.
Fat lock. Who's with Chelsea for a while?
Ted Harbor from the E Channel. That's how she got the job. That's how she got famous.
Of course, no wonder. Now she probably doesn't have to work at all
Harbert, is that
anymore,
his-
that bitch. All right, so we are ready to go, and do we start with him with the plain? I mean, what we think.
The show starts. Do you really have to go in order? Does it really matter?
No, it
in this
doesn't matter.
awful
No,
show?
that's what I'm saying.
It
That's
doesn't
why-
matter. Nothing
yeah.
matters. Joey Coy. Now that's her new husband, Tiger Lily, boyfriend, whatever, comedian, like a C-list comedian.
I don't even know what we're talking about now. What?
This Joey Coy is her new. She was like notoriously, irritatingly single and bragging about it. Oh my God, I'm single and
Deservedly
horny,
so.
and then
Honestly, deservedly so.
she hooked up with one of her head writers from her old show.
Of course she
Joey
did.
Coy.
Of course she did. All right, where should we start? I got lots of stuff.
Whatever you feel like doing. I mean, whatever, because
I
again,
want to start
the
with
order
that because I
doesn't
thought,
matter.
okay, so let me do the build up to what actually was going on at this point. So he started picking on Gary again, and Gary really has some disgusting food habits. So Gary starts talking about how he loves Peter Pan peanut butter, honey roasted peanut
Oh,
butter.
it's such a anorexic conversation. I know.
It's so
the worst conversation.
disgusting. And so he starts talking about that, but what he does is he gets like his big tablespoon and he digs it into the peanut butter, and then he takes a bag of chocolate chips and then digs the peanut butter spoon into the chocolate chips
Right.
and then eats that as like a snack. And yeah, like that. So it was really kind of gross. And then Howard started talking about, Jesus Christ, I can't believe you would eat that way. And so they had like this whole conversation about how they eat, and Howard was so upset that he's not able to do his like 3 or 4 mile walk because it's so cold outside. And then Gary happens to mention to him that there's a big storm coming this weekend. What, babe? What were we gonna say?
So wait, he doesn't have a treadmill in that freaking million square
He
feet.
has
treadmill,
the
has a
3
Peloton, He has
gyms.
the water thing. Yeah, he has
X.
tons of.
What's he talking about? That he can't get his exercise.
This is what you're talking about,
What a
X. This is the lack of
douche.
transparency on the 0.5 percentile lifestyle he won't talk about. He's got 5 gyms in that
Seriously.
place. I know.
Oh my
I know.
God,
I
you
know. I
guys?
hate him so much.
I forgot my readers. I have to.
I'm a reader, not a music listener.
You guys talk. I'm just gonna go run and get my
Okie
readers.
dokie.
I'm sorry.
One time I was at this, the Batman villain. It's a Green Arrow villain, I think. The Clock King.
Yeah.
He looks more bookworm. He looks just like. I was at a bar in Brooklyn in the early 2000s. We're sitting there as a really good song came on, and I turned to this guy, and it looks like a guy who wouldn't care about music. Oh, you like this song? He goes, look, I'm a reader. I'm not a music listener. I don't listen to mindless music
Did you
like
hear
you.
the latest?
I'll
Did you
never
notice
forget
that,
it.
Harden is now starting to bail on Brooklyn.
He is so
He
crazy.
is already complaining.
He is such a mental patient. By the way, you talk about shtick. How much of his personality is shtick?
Yeah.
When James Harden's interviewed,
Oh, dude,
I don't
he's
believe anything he says.
A chronic complainer, and now he's gonna blow up again. He's gonna do that. I'm gonna get fat. He can't stand playing with Kyrie now. He says it's effing up his game, having a part-time.
Before it's all said and done, I think that Nets team, that big three will have played
Look at
14
how you guys
games
go
together.
right to sports. Jesus Christ.
I knew you were gonna say
amazing.
that.
No, that was in the news today. It was like he's already like, it's hard playing without him.
All right. I have no problem playing your clip about the weekend. So if you tell me which one it is,
I don't know if it's better than yours. It's probably the exact same thing.
probably the exact same thing.
Weather. Okay, RG says RG weather ruins Howard's plans, and I have in parenthesis Florida / could be San Francisco.
All right,
He
so
freaks out. It's like
He freaks out. So you guys tell us what you think he's
Is he-
talking
this-
about when he gets this upset
and
about.
this is real. This is when he slips and his real life kind of.
Would I love to just eat peanut butter out of the jar? Sure. You can.
Same clip.
No, I can't. I'll put on so much weight. And it's been so cold here in New York, I haven't been going out for my walk. I used to do 3-4 miles a day. Now I'm just sitting at home on my fat ass.
I'm doing stuff, but it's
awful.
inside. It sucks. I mean,
6'6",
like, it's, I
190
think,
pounds.
and there's going to be a huge nor'easter this weekend.
Yeah, something big's coming through. They're calling it the bomb cyclone.
This weekend? What day?
Yep.
Yes.
Saturday.
The weekend, Saturday. Yeah.
Saturday, I think it's a Sunday.
Oh, shit. I got to end the show and go talk to my wife about something.
Yeah, I was thinking about you when I saw that, and I said, I got to tell them about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, yesterday was like the big day. All the weather people this week, if you want to get out, yesterday was the day because it was the big day. All the weather people this week, if you want to get out, yesterday was the day because it was 40. And it's going to
Right,
be
it was
like,
amazing. I was walking
Yesterday
towards
was
that.
40? Yesterday
that
was
the
40?
big day. Yep.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Such an idiot.
What is that? What is that? I missed that. He's so sequestered. He's so out of touch, guys. He doesn't know the temperature outside. He doesn't know that it shifted 25 degrees from one day to the next. Who doesn't know that? No matter how out of touch.
Who doesn't know that?
Who doesn't know what it is outside?
Does he not have a phone? Would it just look at the
Right, the temperature's on the phone.
Every morning I look at the temperature before I figure out what to wear for the day. Every day. I know pretty much all of our temperatures across like the entirety of the United States. And he doesn't know that it was, well, 40 isn't really like amazing, but I guess when it's been like in the 20s and the 10s that it's great. But that whole holy shit, I need to stop the show and go talk to my wife.
That's
thing.
real. That's not him. That's real. That's the closest you're going to get to honesty.
That the private plane was getting all geared
Chartered.
up at Teterboro.
Yes.
For him to go down to Florida, because I feel like we all think that he is going to be off like next week, right? I mean, did we get that from what he's been saying?
Seems like that's going to happen.
Jack Enrod thinks he's already in Palm Beach and he's pretending that he's going somewhere. That's not a bad theory. He certainly lies worse than that. That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Xavier, why don't you go to the videotape and check on YouTube and see if he has any clips from today, and we can check the floor. Because
and
that's
then
what we do.
Right back.
And then Judy Tenuta writes, secret. It's a great show. Judy Tenuta, you are spot on. This is a $4,000 a minute radio host. He can't talk about what this is, right? I got to get out of here. We're not going to tell you nothing. You get nothing. And then he doesn't know what the temperature is outside. No, this is your $4,000 a minute radio host that they can't hire anybody else to do shows on other channels because he's taking all the money. What is this show? This is how you get. It's just everything. You'll get nothing from him.
You're so right, dead and dust. He was also complaining, I think this was yesterday, right, that he bought Beats headphones because AirPods don't cancel the airplane noise. Who buys...
Good catch.
No joke. Like,
good catch.
Who buys Beats headphones as opposed to, like, Bose noise cancellation
The world's
headphones?
oldest teenager does. When he puts on his...
Right.
When he puts on his Rockaware.
Yeah, it seems like it's weird. No, I don't think it was like a I'm in Florida thing. We were thinking that it was, shit, I have a plane to catch tomorrow and the weather's going to be bad. And now how does that work out for us?
Or there's a drive to the airstrip. I don't know. I know the Hamptons have airstrips. We all know. They're all.
I think he goes out of Teterboro. Any good plane goes out of Teterboro.
Well, you know better than I would, but I know there's an airstrip in the Hamptons. And the Helicopter, there's a whole strip for that as well. And I can't wait to, maybe on the Cleaning Out the Computer, I'll do this on that Bethany show when she goes to the Helicopter from 38th and 12th, and it shows you the whole protocol.
Don't you remember David Spade also doing the Helicopter when he was going out to see Howard with his daughter? And it was the only way he was going to get there in time because Howard has like a strict 5 o'clock dinner rule.
Yes.
And he wouldn't have made it for 5 o'clock if he was driving, so he had to take the Helicopter there. Just so ridiculous. Can you imagine actually folding over backwards to get to Howard's house so that you could have dinner with him at 5 o'clock?
The Helicopter might be exactly the amount that the bowling alley is going to be referenced. I think he's afraid, like it's in the same, you know what I mean? It's the same, I guess, no-fly list or...
Oh, is that today, babe?
That's the last video they uploaded.
Okay, so then that means he's still here. That's a really beautiful picture that you caught him with.
Tile.
Right, and he usually has like those guitars behind him in Florida.
But you
so
can see
yes,
that's
Kylo Sierra Alpha claims that
can
the
we appreciate that he's got the long size wig on?
He's got the long wig
on.
That
one was washed in.
Can you blow that up at all or no?
It doesn't fit his scalp.
Can you zoom that?
How do I zoom it?
Do you think one of the clips I have is of transplants? Howard slips and says he has. Do you think Howard had the scalp reduction Trump did?
No.
Let me see if I can.
You know how Trump had the scalp reduction?
Who's Hector Lavoe? Oh, look at that. Keep going, babe. Make it bigger.
The computer just committed suicide.
Bigger! Yeah, he's got the long wig on. And he's obviously chilly down in the basement.
You're out of touch.
Look at
I'm
the
out
neck.
of
Oh my God, there's so much wrong.
Everything
there.
about him is gross. Look at the chin.
The nose is like a different pigment than his rest of his face.
He really does look like Madam from Wayland and Flowers or whatever it was called. He's got that horrible
Something else
chin.
right there, man.
He is gross.
Fairway Maiden writes, why make that stupid football bet if he's going to be off next week? He's going to make me wait for that. That's not what I wanted. He said something else. Something about he wanted to know why he's in Florida.
Oh, that's right.
Monique, what's the deal with
Well,
the rules, the broadcasting rules again?
Broadcasting rule. You're not allowed
Jack
to
Enrod
use
wrote
your
this.
home as your primary place of business. But I think that's a
Yeah.
Palm Beach thing. I don't think that's a Florida thing. I don't
Jack
really,
Enrod wrote that.
I don't really know.
Why would he hang in the seasonal Hamptons when everything is closed
Rupert
and Palm
Pumpkin
Beach
might
is
know
happening?
this.
I know. That's what.
Yeah, Howard's chin does look puffed up. It does look kind of a little weird.
Gobble
Let me go
gobble.
back there a second. Let me just look at that. It does look a little weird and puffy,
It does.
right?
Yes,
Can you play just like a snurch of this so we can see it?
absolutely.
Just a snurch.
Azores writes. He looks
Here
like a
in
ventriloquist
Illinois.
dummy.
Hey, Howard, I love the Bat Out of Hell talk yesterday. I think that's one of my favorite albums of all time. I was just curious.
Oh, isn't it that day before?
We got
That's day before, babe.
No, okay, yes, but I'm looking at the last two videos uploaded.
And they're the same.
These were uploaded a few hours ago.
Okay, so those are the
Clearly
bowling
it's-
alley
Yeah,
tile.
it's from what, day or two ago.
Okay.
So
Is that
but
Hot Topic in the Smith
But
Haven
that goes
Mall?
to show you how much content they have. That's literally the last two things they've uploaded. That and an Aussie interview
Wow. Okay.
uploaded 6 hours ago.
Wow. All right.
Azores writes. He looks like a ventriloquist dummy from the Salvation
He
Army.
totally
store.
does. He looks like Madam. Okay, so let's go to our next clip. So, hold on, I gotta get
Monique,
that.
you see what Kyle Sierra Alpha writes? It's search for the headline. East Hampton Airport to go private. Ban chartered flights over noise concern. Yeah, they've been trying to fight that for years, right? The locals there?
Yes.
They were always fighting about the kind of rich Manhattanites
It's the
taking over
chartered
and
flights,
ruining.
but it's a lot of the helicopters. Helicopters are 10 times louder than
Yeah.
airplanes. So, there's that Hamptons Express that goes directly there. And then, as you all know, Uber started doing a Hamptons Express helicopter thing from both the east and the west side directly to Southampton.
I'm for anything disrupting their 1 percentile life. I'm for anything. Any chaos. I don't care if it's a
How
tidal wave or an
inconvenient.
atomic
I
bomb.
know. Can
Anything.
you imagine? Such inconvenience. All right, let's go to the next clip. What do we got? Do we want to talk about now? What is this clip that you have here, which I was curious about? The
Goldfish
Bob
brain?
Costas Schadenfreude?
No,
or
that's a different thing. I mean, you want to say that for the
All right,
end.
we'll come
it's
back
just
to that. We'll come
okay.
back to things that are older.
I should have separated it. I just
RG
lumped it in the
quoted
same
by
email.
staff. RG
Yeah,
Schadenfreude.
this is kind of weird. I don't know. This is
Today?
I have a theory that they listen to our show and they take questions for him. And you remember my rant about Gary's book yesterday? How
Yes.
he wouldn't be. So listen to this clip. This is just again. It's just very odd. It almost just sounds exactly what I said
Okay, let's hear it.
yesterday.
Hopefully it's-
Fans that feel I'm being mean, and this is what guilts me.
Right.
I would make fun of Gary every day if these fans wouldn't write, but here they go. Please stop with the gutting of Gary. It makes perfect sense that he would say, as you all know, to people who bought his book. It's his book, not a passerby radio listener tuning in. Jeez. See, this is the devil on my shoulder.
Well, they've got you in a vice, but you're in a.
They got me up. Yeah.
Liar. Nobody wrote that tone.
That's him. I know. I don't think anything. Unless you want to go, I guess we could say that for the end. I gave Monique a clip of when Howard read an email of mine in 2005, in late 2005, just before
Which one is that?
they went to series. But I mean, they could say that for the end. It's Howard reads my email about Artie on Conan,
Okay.
September 05.
Oh, there was a problem playing this audio file. I wonder why.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Let me see. No, it won't let
You
me
played
play
it
that
for us before we went on.
one. No. Was it that one?
You gave us a sample of what your download sounded like, and we said it sounded good, and that's the example you used.
Duty. All right, let me go look.
You don't just get to it later. You don't have to go.
Well,
Save
that's
it for the
okay
end.
because I can't get to anything right now. So just give me 1 second. No,
No,
don't make singing
I want to
noise.
thank
Don't
the
make
people in
singing
the chat too because they pointed out Housey Football 57 immediately told me that Howard used my goldfish brain term today, which I've
Really?
said on the show a million times. He just happened to. It's really bizarre. It's.
Do we have that clip?
And then somebody writes back. Cervix writes back. Oh, good. Unfortunately, we can't flush him down the toilet.
Do we have that clip?
I do. It says goldfish
You
writes.
busted, Howard.
All right, let me just see if I can play it because I just restarted that whole thing so that I can look at it. So just give me a second.
Again, this is your $4,000 a minute radio host bragging about really not knowing anything, and I can't retain anything, and I have no accountability, and I have
Of course.
kind of what
Thank you, Ringo.
I just react to what's in front of me in the moment, and I don't really have any commitment to
Hang on,
anything. Ring your bell. Howard definitely is listening to Radio Gunk. Too many.
Do you think they have to leave like a string, like a yarn, from one room to the other so Howard knows how to get to where he's going?
Yeah, I do. Some
At this
system.
point, it's like Hansel and Gretel, but with yarn.
Absolutely. Howard, thank you, Ring Your Bell, for the $9.99
Dang, make it rain.
to Monique's Pajama Fun. Howard definitely is listening to Radio Gunk. Too many
I have
coincidences
no
in the last 2
idea
weeks.
what the hell you guys are talking about.
I'm reading the
trying to play
chat. I'm
clip.
reading all these great comments in the chat. We're letting go by.
Oh wait, so do I not have the clip up?
I don't hear a thing. Did you
Oh,
play something?
mother
And I'm sure
effer.
they didn't hear it in the chat because
I didn't hear.
That's why I was
Oh,
talking.
Okay, that's totally my fault.
We
I'm
need
so
we need
sorry.
Braille
I am.
for the audience.
Yeah, that's why they call it dope, my friends. That's all I can say. Dope. Okay, hold on. Let me get there. Add to stream. Put us back.
this doesn't happen on the Deppening. We actually stop. We actually stop and edit it out. We're still at that point where we
Do you do
because
it
we're not
live?
doing it.
There's
No,
nothing-
we don't do. We're gonna do it live. I think on 1,000
There's nothing
subscriber,
more
but we have
beautiful
yet to
than
do it
that.
live.
Good luck
We've
with
yet-
that.
I know.
All right, here we go. Tell me if you can hear this.
I don't even know why you have that
That's
in the
good.
reel.
That's good.
You know, in a way, I've got this weird personality that I forget everything. Like I only kind of live in the moment.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think that's a good thing necessarily. It's good to remember that sometimes literally I don't even remember that I'm on the radio. And I don't mean like in an Alzheimer kind of way. This is how I always was. So I'm like, the screen is to remind me that like I have this whole life on the radio. I'm like, I'm like a goldfish. You know how they swim around in the bowl and whatever catches their attention at the moment?
I can't believe
That's
he's
kind of
saying
me. I don't really remember sometimes that I've got a career and that people listen to me.
he doesn't
and that
remember
I'm
that
famous. In a,
That's
I
all
don't
he
even
says
know
to
that.
us.
What a bunch
There's
of
no consciousness of it.
But what would it mean to be conscious that you're famous and you're on the radio?
shouldn't
at,
I know that? Shouldn't
later
I-
in the afternoon?
I don't know. It just
I hate everything about that clip. How does
It's so
he not?
fake.
How does he not know that that is who he is?
Oh please,
I know.
please, come on, shtick. Come on, the guy's a narcissist. He can't. He has to have the hallway cleared for him.
Thank
but
you,
he
Jen.
doesn't know that he's famous. Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Yes,
Dav-
he doesn't
Dav-
realize it.
David
Please.
writes, there's no way in hell Howard in all 30 years before you guys started doing Google, he Google alerts himself, knowing and calling onto the carpet anyone who badmouth him, that he doesn't listen to every minute of this and every minute. That completely is applicable to the clip you just
Oh my
played.
God, that's totally why. There are so many times where somebody will write like beefus blah 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 in a header on the forum, and I will change it to Beth Stern because I know that it'll eventually pop up in her Google alerts.
Yep.
And that's the best way to know that they've actually read something that we had posted. Wait, who gave us money? I didn't even know this.
Yo.
Oh,
Yo,
thank
dude.
you, Ring Your Bell. Let me see what he wrote. Howard definitely is listening to Radio Gunk. Too many coincidences the last 2 weeks. He mentioned his 70-plus staff. Yes, that's true. With everybody has titles. Exactly. You're so right. You're so right. Damn it, Ring Your Bell. All right, so
Howard.
where do we want to go next?
Well, I mean, just a little bit on that one. He's bragging to you, Pete. He's bragging or humble bragging that he doesn't know anything and doesn't have to
He
know
loves
anything.
not knowing. We
And
know
knowing
that.
not to know, and it's just so infuriating. And you're paying for this shit. This is not something you want to bring. And I don't have to. And then he's above it all. He can't retain anything. This is your $4,000 a minute radio host that has held the entire company hostage.
Like Azor says, he forgets he's famous. Why does he have JD searching for every single mention of him on
Exactly.
TV?
Exactly.
Why does he fight with a newscaster in Minneapolis that he has no idea who she is
The fake
because
humility.
she mocks him for like 2 seconds?
The fake humility is infuriating.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got 3 publicists. His agent, entire existence is about keeping him famous.
Yeah,
There's never a time where he's not thinking about it.
this is true.
Well, isn't this the same shtick he used for Beth, that Beth doesn't want to be famous? So now it
Yeah.
applies to him too?
Yes.
It's his
guess.
fake humility,
It's fake
condescending,
humility. That's
patronizing
exactly what it is.
bullcrap.
I do want to get to this Jennifer Witz thing because I had that clip too,
Uh-oh.
and I thought that was really interesting.
Uh-oh.
So, Jennifer she basically runs Sirius, and he had the balls to actually mock her and do like a phony phone call of her. Now, I'm sure that Jennifer Witz, who's probably like 20 years younger than him, sees this as being, oh my God, I can't believe Howard actually mentioned me on air. But in reality, I feel like it's incredibly passive aggressive the way he worked this into, I don't even know what the stupid bit was that he was doing, but it was just kind of weird that he would do a phony phone call on
Yeah,
Jennifer Witz.
he's her boss.
Yeah.
She's
You know
not
what?
his. He's
Once
her
again-
boss.
Once again, recycled bit. Pig vomit. Tom Chiosano.
Jen-
Now it's going to be this broad. Like,
But
he
she's
he
in
just
on the
recycles
difference.
the
Is she's
same
in
crap.
on the joke. Like
But
I'm sure she's like,
Yeah,
I don't
know.
care.
I know, but it's he's trying to sell it. Like once again, he's sticking it to the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, listen
that's
to what
true.
she
It's a
says
bunch of
because
shit.
it's incredibly passive
It's so
aggressive. It's,
played.
just so
it's
weird.
played out. It's not even original.
Okay, let's hear it.
Jennifer Witz is the CEO of SiriusXM
Here we
Pandora.
go.
She wants to say hello to us this morning, and she is my boss. Yes, Jennifer.
See,
I mean, Miss
Listen
Witz.
to me, Stern. You gotta quit being such a pussy about Gary.
Yeah,
Listeners
Shane.
want you to bash him, so you bash Gary. You understand?
God.
I understand. I know. They want it. I'll
Are
do
you
it.
saying
I'll-
stop feeling bad about it?
Absolutely. Grow a pair. Bash that motherfucker to smithereens. I want 20% more Gary bashings in Q2, or it's your ass, Stern.
All right.
You hear me?
Gotcha.
Listen to me. Gary is an executive punching bag, and that's it, all right? I want you to rip him a new asshole at the top of every hour, and that's in order.
All right. The fans want it. I'll do it.
100%.
You got to
this
do what the
Benji
fans
writing.
want.
The fans want it, and I'll do
This
it.
is Benji writing right there.
How
Absolutely.
horrible is that, you guys? How horrible.
It's
I feel sorry for the traffic on the LIE that pulled off the road laughing at comedy gold. Who is doing that voice to? Who is that?
This is so bad.
Sphincter puckering.
You remember
Really?
the chick we saw sitting in the call center cubicles in that CBS special? There's
Yes.
one girl. I bet that's her doing that. Whoever it is.
Well, there's actually a couple of girls behind, because remember, I went up there like 2 or 3 times, and I saw them going into a meeting. There were at least 3 girls in that
At
meeting.
least.
At least,
They-
exactly.
I think
God.
our LinkedIn show.
Nobody
I
of color,
think-
by the
I-
way. Or,
yeah, of course
or
not.
Asian. or
No,
anything.
no.
No.
Our
What show?
LinkedIn show. I think we identified some of the weird staff nobody knows.
I know, I
think we
kinda
brought
deleted
attention
that
to
show.
her, whoever that is. I cannot remember the name.
There were
for
a
the
few
life of me.
girls in that LinkedIn show. I just felt like we were a little doxy on that, so that's why I deleted
Doxy.
it. We were a little doxy.
Doxy.
We were a little doxy on them.
Doxy
And
Carmichael.
I felt bad because I would hate to be part of that and then have somebody go to my LinkedIn and give all my information. So, yeah, I had to delete that show, unfortunately. Do we want to go to Psych, Ben, and Ray? Do we want to go to... I absolutely do not want the Bobo Ralph. I don't really care about
A great way to get on the Stern Show is pretend you're a doctor of some kind. Howard loves to be
Oh my God, he loves
attached to someone with their PhD.
Right.
It makes him feel important. So this fake psychiatrist, he could be real. He sounds like a boring psychologist.
I think he was a
I think he
boring
was
psych.
real. I think he was real.
Yeah.
So it's his
but
argument.
also a super fan.
And he's a super fan, so it's doubly irritating with his
Exactly.
cadence, and he brings attention to Ben and Ray's age.
Exactly. And that they're going to die soon and no mortality and all that shit. Yeah, this was actually kind of interesting. All right, let's listen.
Like, I'm worried about,
He's worried.
like, your relationship with mom and dad and dealing with the end of life. I've lost both of my parents, and I'm
Not
only
me.
52. No, I know.
Mine are here and calling all the time.
But he's saying we're in a point here. Let the man speak.
Okay, all right.
Well, and you lead such a blessed life, and you're
Yes,
so
he does.
talented. You have a beautiful wife, and you've got, likely, because of your genes, years and
Sorry, I just have to mention Bruce, who put up Little Red Riding Hood from Bugs Bunny. That's exactly what that woman sounded like. Grandma!
Hey, Grandma, what big
Thomas
eyes
is-
you have?
That just made me laugh so
Yeah,
much.
sure, Kate.
years
You
and
guys
years
do
and
that,
years to go. And
I don't know about that. Everyone always says that.
Why?
Your parents live so long, you're going to live long.
I don't think you will.
You don't know that.
Yeah, but you-
honestly,
Well, that's
you don't.
the only thing they can base it on, Howard.
I know, but you'd be surprised. But go ahead.
But you lead a healthy life, and you check in with the doctor, and you go to the dentist, and you do
Right.
all the things that you're supposed to do. But I just wanted to say, you're a good son. You have been very kind to your parents, as far as I can tell.
I'm too good a son.
I'm
You're right about that, doctor. Absolutely.
He's been
I mean,
too
Jesus. I'm too fucking good. This family treats me like I'm Jesus Christ.
Again with the Jesus Christ. That's interesting.
Yeah, look what Randall Marsh 79 says on it. He sounds like he's reading a kidnapper's ransom note. Right now, he's all stammery and crap, and right now, no confidence, or he can't complete a sentence. He's stammery, and I mean, I understand being nervous, but it's
why call?
really strange. I know why call.
Wait. You don't think they vetted this guy before he came on? And
They
told him what to
absolutely
tell?
do.
Absolutely. There's nothing spontaneous about this. He's
I've been hung up
literally
on
reading-
4 times without getting
He's on
the
his
air.
phone looking at the text messages they sent him. Okay, make sure you mention this. Make sure you mention that.
That's
Give me a
right.
break.
And he doesn't know anything. You're exactly right, Texaco. How would he know? Like, how would you know how good he's been to his parents? He's
basing it off of a character on the radio.
That's exactly right. And
Jared.
the character is a horrible character, so it's just all right, hang on. I'm going to share another screen so
Saw
that
an
I can
episode
go
of
to
PBS and Nova 15 years ago that
Absolutely.
explained how and why rich people live exponentially longer than average people. Jared, do you still have that on VHS? Can you
I saw
upload
an
it?
episode in PBS Nova 15 years ago explain how and why rich people live exponentially longer than average people. Well, I can give you like some really good tips as to why, because they probably don't eat as much shitty processed food.
Oh, yeah.
They probably eat healthier and are able to be in the outdoors, unlike people in the inner cities that are
On-call physicians.
able to do that. On-call physicians, exactly.
Again,
Private
not to
weather
bring it back to
person?
the Deppening, Monique, and again,
No,
there's so many
by all means, do
comparisons.
it.
Not to bring it back, but Johnny Depp has an on-call doctor and nurse living on his compound, Dr.
Nice.
Kipper. And so I asked Sara, I'm like, how does this guy smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day and all the drugs he does? He's literally, this doctor's looking at him like, once a day, clean. I don't know, there's some kind of lung cleaning process they do now where like smokers have like their insides wiped out.
Why
or
don't
something.
you ask how a
that
doctor
even
and
possible,
noted
dude?
surgeon goes to Michael Jackson's house and
Yes.
fills him up with drugs, propofol, to just make him go into a comatose state for the night every night. I mean, doctors do stupid shit. Doctors aren't the smartest. They're really
It
not.
worked well for Michael Jackson.
They have very specific kind of intelligence. They lack the street
Yeah,
smarts.
but that's it.
and-
They have no
Yep.
street smarts. That's
Right.
exactly right. And they're horrible with money, just so you know. So, yeah,
Oh.
screw you.
That's how Sal the stockbroker bilked them out of their fortune in
So I
1980s.
have a couple of clips I was going to get to, and I mean they're silly clips, but I just wanted to play them for you because Mister, I have no time for anything, right? He has no time to call people back. He has no time to talk to anybody, but this is what he does on the daily. Okay, let me just make sure this is here so that I have it all together. Okay, it is good. So just give me one quick second here.
I just want to tell that Howard has had a charmed life.
always
Well, I thought you were looking
fucking-
for it, so I'm just trying to kill the.
He's like my cat. I got this cat, Mushu, who was kind of feral when we got her, and she wouldn't come near us. And I realized she was very food motivated. So I would take treats and leave them in my hand. And I'd sit on the floor for like 20, 25 minutes, just sit there like Buddha and wait and wait and wait. And finally, she started coming up to me. So when I hand Mushu a treat, she's in my lap.
This is what he does. This is what the $90 million
Yep.
man does.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep.
He sits on the floor praying that his cat will come to him so that the cat will love him. It's going to be very curious what happens with like a Beth and all her cats when Howard dies. I think it's kind of like a weird
Back
thing.
to the prop department.
Will that be the only true loss he ever suffers in his life? This is the guy who's
Yeah.
pushing 70 and has had no genuine loss.
None.
That's
Well,
how charmed his life
Xavier
is.
and I were talking about that yesterday, day before maybe, about how he has never had anything adverse happen to him. We've never even heard of him. I was reading a Vanity Fair article about Jennifer Lawrence. You know, she's kind of gone out of the picture a little bit. She felt like she was getting like way too popular. She couldn't seem
Yeah,
to stand herself. And one day she was coming back from like Minneapolis or something, and she was on a private jet, and they had just taken off. She had her dog in her lap, and all of a sudden they hear like this explosion, and the pilot comes on really nervous and says, "We lost one of our engines, so we're going to turn around and we think we can get back okay, but just so you know, like everything's going to be out there, the fire engines, the foam, the whole thing." And she said, "We made the hardest landing, and all I could think of was, oh my God, you know, what am I gonna what am I gonna say to my family? Like I just came back to the essence of who gives a shit about winning Oscars and all the stuff that you've done in your life. All I could think about was like my family and the fact that my dog was gonna die with me." And
The dog
and
wasn't
she's-
thrilled either.
And she stepped back. She just stepped the fuck back. And
But that's a great example of someone with almost as charmed a life as Howard has, because she's gotten it all. She's getting like Meryl Streep-like accolades before she's 30 years old.
Yes.
You couldn't get more from Hollywood, and she's probably going to work forever. You're right. She has. That's probably one of the few that has a charmed life in Howard's ballpark.
Yeah, I would agree. But Howard's life, you know, you'd never even heard of Howard like being sideswiped by a car.
Right.
Or,
You don't drive.
You know, a bicycle running over his toe. I mean, nothing.
Well,
Nothing.
I think the closest he ever got was with that homeless person hawked a logie and.
Oh, I'll give you one.
But
I'll
that's
give
not
you one.
him.
Grillo,
Yeah, exactly.
the Grillo
He ran
story,
like
Monique.
a bitch. Like a
Grillo's
complete
story.
coward.
The Grillo story.
But
in the
you know,
morning
that,
with-
that story has also been, has morphed into,
Re-
you know, basically
yeah.
a guy with a gun to his head
The-
and Grillo, you know, curb stomping him and saving the day. The reality is that he was a stalker, and when they arrested him for stalking, they saw that he had a gun in his car. And that was when Howard realized he really needs to take care of himself and have people
Grillo
around him.
blocked the bullets with his rollerblades. It ricocheted into a windshield and took out John Gotti.
Is that why he uses Ronnie?
Yeah.
Because he's just an old guy that
Ronnie
won't
was
be able to outrun.
useless. According to
You know,
Grillo,
it's like
Ronnie
he-
was absolutely
He's
useless in
hoping
the
that he's like
situation.
the slow antelope on the Serengeti. That the
Ronnie
lions are gonna tear
literally
apart.
comes up to here on me, like no joke.
Oh, he's a
Ronnie comes up
midget.
to here. He's a tiny man, and I'm only 5'8", so he's a tiny guy. He's like, I can't imagine. I'm sure he packs heat as well, right?
Oh, duh.
Yeah, I'm sure. So I really did want to. No, Grillo does not now live in a trailer. Grillo has
That's
a
his vacation home, right?
summer
That's the,
place that his family has had for forever. So he goes up there in the summertime. I wanted to get into Ashley a little bit. And the
So this
fact
Gary
that
Puppet.
And you can't bring her up without thinking of Gary Puppet.
Absolutely.
it's so true. It's so true. But so it was kind of curious to me because yesterday was like 3 or 4 times Ellen came up, and today it was all about like Ashley and how he's so sad that she's now a woman and that she's
Isn't
just
she,
turned
like, 30?
29. But I want to do a little timeline with you guys after we listen to Monique. I had no idea you were tall.
Are you tall, or are you just kind of slightly? You're not above. You're slightly above average. Not you're kind of
I'm
what a woman
5'8".
should be. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a nice.
that's
It's a nice
perfectly
height.
that's a perfectly normal height, I think.
It is a normal height.
Tis a normal height to a
Tis
man
is.
who's what are you 6? What are you?
I'm
6'3".
4'2".
Yeah, that's right. You're a
I'm
midget.
a
I forgot.
midget. Hello, everybody. I got
Xavier's
a pot of gold.
Xavier's a very tall boy.
You can't prove that.
I cannot prove that. I cannot
Yeah,
prove that.
yeah.
You're the Benicio del Toro of San Diego.
Yeah. I'm more like the Herbie Valenche.
All right. I'm going to play a little Ashley for you. I have it in 3 parts. And so let's go with Ashley's birthday. Here we go. Hopefully. No talking. Let's just let her play.
But okay, we got that all settled. It was my daughter's birthday on Monday. I should have wished her a happy birthday on the air, but I'm not that kind of guy. I don't do that stuff on the air, but it was really kind of emotional because my little one would turn 29. Jeez,
I couldn't believe that. I was like, wow.
My daughter Ashley, my youngest, she's 29. I was just like, oh fuck! I got all emotional because it seems
Your
like in the
babies
blink of
aren't
an eye.
babies anymore.
No, it was like in the blink of an eye. I remember walking with her to
Listen to this story, okay? And then we're going to do timeline. Here we go.
Central Park, and she would hold my hand because it's dangerous walking in Manhattan,
so
with a
dangerous
little
in Central
kid.
Park.
And she'd hold my hand, but she'd have to stand on her tippy toes to hold my hand.
Tippy
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was so cute. And she'd see all these dogs in Central Park, and she'd say, Dad, I want a little white fluffy dog. I said, you got a dog already. You got a dog, Java, you got Bianca. No, I want one dog that I can hold because those dogs are too big.
Yeah,
So
like a little lap dog.
I said, you're not, I can't get you another dog.
All right. So what he's basically saying in this clip is that she's so small that she has to go on her tippy toes to hold his hand. But that she also had Bianca as a dog. So Ashley was
Well, the wallpaper
born.
you used
Hang
is
on.
basically that, right? You had in the
Yes, that is exactly what that's exactly what I put as the wallpaper for tonight's show. So Howard supposedly met and moved in with Beth in 2000. And
Allegedly.
Ashley was born
93.
Ashley was born in 93, so how old does that make her?
There. Oh, it's 7 or 8 years old in the terms of moving in the Beth timeline.
7 or 8 years old. Okay. And then Bianca came along probably the next year, maybe like 2001, which would have made Ashley like 9 or 10. So you tell me if a 9 or 10-year-old has to be on like her tippy toes to walk in the dangerous city that is Central Park with her father.
Yeah.
It just made
Such horseshit.
such horseshit. I mean, the whole thing is such horseshit to me. None of it makes sense.
Well,
Or
this
he's
is at a time
conflating.
too when Emily and Deborah both can't stand Beth and would not come in there, and so he's basically bringing in Ashley. I think the move was he had to visit them on a Wednesday, and then come back into the city again, and then he would get Ashley. And the kids were Emily and
But they
Deborah.
had to be older at that point.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
they were older, so they didn't have to do it. So that he would get Ashley on the weekends.
Right. And it was probably every other weekend.
Or every other week, however, right, every other weekend.
Yeah. All right, so let's continue with Ashley and the story of
This
bullshit.
is a really nice fairy tale.
It's a lovely fairy
It's
tale.
like
in
that
3
song,
parts.
Butterfly you know the Butterfly Kisses? Like
Yes,
that Carlisle guy?
exactly. It's Ashley bullshit in 3 parts. That's what it is.
She get upset. She says, I tell you what, if I see a little white dog with no owner around, just lost,
That doesn't
can I have
happen.
that?
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
I said to myself, Jesus, what are the odds of us seeing a little white dog walking around with no owner?
0.
I mean, there are dogs in Central Park that get lost,
Not really.
but the odds, you got to be 1 billion to 1, right? I mean, gotta
You
be.
can say yes to that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really a
Anything?
I'm not a gambling man. I like a sure thing, but I went, you know what? The kid was so sad. I said, okay, let's go looking around. If we see a white dog, a little white fluffy dog,
With no owner.
no owner, no, okay. We must have stayed out in the park for 10 hours looking for white dogs.
Right.
She just wanted that. She was 6 years old. She's so cute.
Yeah.
6 years old. Okay.
Okay, so he says 6, and let's say that he actually knows her age at that time. Let's say he's not pretending to not know, right? So this is 1999. He's technically still with. He doesn't announce his separation from Allison until November of 99.
Right. And immediately starts dating Beth in 2000.
Oh.
And you already have Bianca. So 6
Right.
years old doesn't really make the timeline now, does it?
No, it doesn't. It
He's
never
full of
does.
Crap.
I think he just conflates his entire
he's-
Ashley childhood
he's
into
the master
of
one
conflation.
moment in Manhattan
Yep.
that is easy for us to understand, us the stupid listener.
But how about him not? So he decides that I'm not going to say happy birthday to her when her birthday actually is. So what do you think happens here? She complains to him because Ashley's not like Deborah or Emily. She's in on this. She doesn't care
Ashley's
about
been
Beth.
around 29 years.
Yes.
He's never mentioned her birthday on air. So why is this one any different?
Right.
It's not
What
like she turned
happens that
30,
he
it's not a
has to
seminal
mention it
year.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Does she complain to him? Where's my happy birthday? She's actually listening to the show, and it doesn't just come out of nowhere.
You know what it was, John? He just cut her a check. And that's all it was. He
No,
cut her a check.
Bianca
and he's
wasn't
like,
even
"God damn."
alive when she was 6.
So now that's tax deductible. Now that he talked about it on there.
She's a great
Like a
kid.
business
She's a great
lunch.
kid. She's a great kid. She's a great kid. She's a great kid. She's a great kid.
Yeah.
If there was only a way to take her to a homeless shelter and both of you could volunteer and say, I'm insanely rich, we should help the poor. Yeah. Okay, Bruce. Okay, dream on. David says, isn't there a picture of Howard and Beth and David Spade and Rob Zombie from like the Grammys a few months before they allegedly met in 99, 2000?
Yeah, there's something out there. I kind of remember that too.
It's
By the
around
way,
same time period.
David, it's Emily hates Robin.
Yes.
Emily hates Rob. They had a huge fight in like 2008.
Yes. I agree with that because he cut her a check and now he has to reimburse himself by talking about it.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I go with that. All right, so let's finish the Ashley trifecta with how emotional he was over the birth of his baby girl. So emotional.
So I got emotional thinking about her. Made me, how did that time go by so quick?
I don't know.
Time's flying. I
I
swear
knew
to
you
you.
before you had any children.
I know you did. You should have grabbed me up then. You could have had my babies.
Oh,
Robin would have been a nice mommy for those kids.
Sure. You know me, how
Never-
I stick with things.
All these years, you never made a move on me. I was waiting for it. You just didn't do it.
I got no words.
When you see your kids once every 2 months, time tends to go pretty fast. You're not driving them anywhere. You're not doing absolutely not going to any of their events. Time goes pretty fast.
Time really does fly by when you're having absolutely no fun. That's exactly right. I'm going to go back to some of your...
I assume at this
stuff
point,
now.
Ashley's the only one that will let her name be mentioned by proper name on the air, because usually it's, I have this daughter, my other daughter, and it's never followed by a proper name. I don't know anybody who speaks like that.
No, nobody does. Nobody does. I'm trying to read through some of this stuff. Let me share some Let me go back to our stream here. Let me add it back in. Let me put us back up.
Abe took us goes, Ashley thinks she missed the train to
Mars.
Mars. She's out back counting stars. He needs to. Katie Aldana goes. He needs collective stole to get him out of this
Deborah
one.
does not give her blessing. Yes, that was so
Fake
true.
song.
My daughter's husband's mother never says my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law.
We played
nothing.
that clip. Yep.
Yeah, so ridiculous. All right, so I'm back to your clips, and I know you have a couple of things that kind of go back and forth in time here. Is there anything else I missed from the actual show?
Yeah, I think the Al Michaels clip was really straight. If you're a sports fan too, it's just so. And again, this points to his goldfish brain, and this points to how bad he is that he hosts this show. And the Al Michaels clip I found fascinating. It's the fifth one, I think, in the batch.
It doesn't matter. I have them all just dragged in here. Okay, Al Michaels. Yeah, that was kind of weird that they were like talking about Al Michaels today. I thought that was kind of curious. All right, let me know if you can hear this when it comes
Michaels,
on.
a shout out. Al Michaels, the sportscaster. For 3 minutes, okay. I watched football. Ralph called me during the Tom Brady game, Tampa Bay.
Buccaneers, Rams.
Yeah. Buccaneers, Rams. And he called me and he said, hey, tune in. It's really exciting. There's 3 minutes left. So I said, oh, what the fuck? Let me do this. Beth was annoyed. But anyway, Al has been on, Al was on our show many, many times.
Sure. Yeah. I always see him pop up on TV, and I think very warm thoughts about him.
And I never watch football, so I just assumed the guy didn't work anymore. I mean, he's an older gentleman.
He works baseball, 70s? He works football. He works all the time.
Well, if you don't watch sports, how would you know? I'm busy with The Bachelor. Bachelor, I can tell you who's working.
Around sometime just to see what's going on.
Right, I should look. But anyway, there he went, he's like, hey, it's Tom Brady supposed to say he's got that sound. And
yes.
I was like, wow, he's still working and he sounds great. And I haven't been watching football all year. And here he is explaining everything to me. But I looked up his age. He's 77 years old. Now, here's the thing I didn't know. You see, you start looking stuff up and you find out he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season.
Who cares?
And he works currently, I guess, for NBC. But ESPN and Amazon are courting him for next season.
Oh, wow.
He thinks that validates him getting courted. That's just one of.
What does he make? I would like to. I like to know the nuts and bolts of the business.
He makes a good. What is that? A good piece of change?
No, a good piece of coin.
Good piece of coin.
Good enough. We want to know what he makes. Let's turn it on you. What do you make?
What do you want to know?
He's jealous of Al Michaels. What do you think Al makes? About $8 million a year? Yeah, Howard's jealous of your $8 million a year. He makes every show, right? So his show's $85 a year now. He makes what do you say? $8-9 million a show.
Yeah.
He's jealous of Al Michaels' salary. Really? That's
good.
He
loves that.
But he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Much people make.
That he doesn't know he's on. Yeah. Michaels was a guest. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Was it a year and a half ago? 2 years? He was on the show.
It's probably more than 2 years.
The
last 2 years are COVID years.
It does,
so
yes.
Everything's pre-COVID. So
it was close enough where he should know exactly what it is. And then just dunderhead Robin goes, he does football, Al Michaels, ABC Al Michaels hasn't done a baseball game since the late 80s.
Yeah, but he's also going to be.
She knows. She heard him do baseball.
Well, how is he even relevant to anybody's conversation?
But it's the beard. It's the beard nature of the show. So none of them. The best football weekend maybe in the history of the NFL. They're completely big Steeler fan bats completely oblivious to it. He's gay, so he's on the treadmill running like Richard Simmons, and he has to be alerted by Ralph that something's going on in the NFL.
Right.
And he doesn't know where Al Michaels is at his career. It's just also everything sucks in that clip. He knows nothing, and if he doesn't, he'll pretend not to know anything.
Well, Papa Wrinkle says he may be on his deathbed and not be here this weekend because he may be around. I don't know what that means. Just gonna throw it out there. Bruce says it's like listening to a CB conversation at this point. I almost think Howard is going to interrupt the show and give directions to the bandit as he outruns Jackie Gleason on a beer run.
Pursuit.
That's so true.
Eastbound down.
All right, so what else do I
rolling.
have now? So I have, let's see, caller asks about ratings and listener. That's from 2007. Howard reads my email, so we'll get to that one. I've had 3 transplants.
Yeah, so this is pointed out to me by somebody in the mockery thread, and I apologize if I don't get your name fast enough. I think they were shouting out to you to get it, or Dennis, and I just mistakenly caught it.
Okay.
And so at the end, it's another COVID neurosis crazy discussion, and Howard slips in, yeah, I've had 3 transplants. And I need people to interpret what is this hair transplants? Is it plastic surgery? Is it actual medical? What is he talking about?
He had an addictomy.
Or he's just an old man blathering incoherently about stupid
Two Master
shit.
says implants. He says transplants.
All right, let's hear it.
Dude's father said that getting the vaccine is against his son's basic principles.
we
But
talked
what are his principles? He's willing to take somebody else's
what
heart?
are those principles?
Yeah. You can't be anti-science. Because
you know how much medication they give you after a transplant?
I do. I've
You've
had
got
3
to
of
take
them.
a cocktail of drugs to stay alive. But
Yeah,
he's
that's weird.
fine with all of those drugs, just
Rewind that.
not the vaccine.
Vaccine is against his son's basic principles. But what are his principles? He's willing to take somebody else's
what
heart?
are those principles?
Yeah. You can't be anti-science.
You know how much medication they give you after a transplant?
I do. I've
You've
had
got
3
to
of
take
them.
What is he talking about?
I've had 3
What
of
is
them.
he talking about?
What the hell is he talking about?
Everyone's going nuts in the chat. I mean, is it cosmetic surgery, which is my first guess for everything.
Has
with
to
that.
be.
And he's trying to make it look like it's medical, but it's actually cosmetic.
Like chin,
Okay.
Yeah,
can we-
hair transplant.
hair.
Okay,
Oh.
John, get your John Madden little righty thing. Let's figure this out. So he's
I
had his
wish we
nose
could
done
do that.
twice.
I wish we could do that.
He's had his nose done at least twice. His chin has an obvious implant in it.
Well,
Hold
the
on,
theory is X. The vacation schedule is all about plastic surgery,
Oh,
and I
duh.
totally buy that.
He at
Like
least has
you need
some of
that
those
much time to heal each time
He
you get
doesn't
it.
has
look
those skin
so
peels.
dramatically different though from year. I mean, like not
Well,
dramatic.
The
is what I'm
key,
saying.
Monique, is to make it look subtle. We don't know he did anything, right? So he doesn't want.
Subtle.
It's like when John tells that story when he came back and he found the nose job and nobody else caught it but Stuttering John. And over the break, he's like, "Did you?" He's like, "Howie, you have a nose done?" He's like, "Don't tell anybody, John."
Okay, so hold on. Let me
But I
just.
mean, it's so obvious. His nose, like back in the day, was like it's like a skyscraper on
Yeah,
his face.
I'm saying hair they're saying hair transplant. I mean, that's the we go to the hair thing all the
I
time.
always assume that it's just
That's the
he's
term
got-
for it.
He's got one of those like where it's got snaps on the top of his skull and he just snaps that wig in there. You know?
He's getting the top of the top of the top of the line of hair system hair
Well, I mean,
transplants where you
okay,
could swim
look
in
at-
it. You could
Look at Elon Musk. Look at Bono. Those
look
guys.
at Nicolas
look at them now,
Cage.
you
No,
couldn't-
you're right. X, you're right.
You couldn't tell that they actually, if you didn't have like a reference before
Look
that.
at William Shatner.
Yeah.
Well, Nicolas
William
Cage.
Shatner's hair has always been kind of a joke. It's always
Vince
looked like a
Vaughn.
rug.
Matthew McConaughey. Hollywood hair plugs is such a huge thing now, and the key is that you're like, oh my god, how does Matthew McConaughey have a full head of hair now, and he was basically bald in 2001.
Yeah, they that's the one part
Jimmy,
of medical
exactly,
science that's
David. Bill Maher,
advanced
Jimmy
to the point to
Kimmel.
where it's almost perfected.
Kimmel and Howard are definitely on the same scope, and they're using the same people, without a doubt. That's probably why Kimmel goes over there.
But
One of the reasons.
Howard's hair looks horrible. If he's paying for that, he should sue.
He's paying for that
There should be class actions.
because he's a Tim Burton character, X, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, Wigabot
Yeah.
Crane,
He is absolutely.
Wigward Scissorhands.
You know,
So
it's all about
let's look at it.
scaling, and his head's not scaled to his wig. You know,
It's all about
It's like-
scale.
It's all about scale. You know, he bought that. He went to IKEA, got that really big couch for a really small room.
I can't wait to do the cleaning out the computer show because I have a clip,
Yeah.
Monique, that's been scrubbed of the Howard TV staff questioning his hair, and it's been taken out of every. I have it next to Boff
Yeah.
and Steve S.
And at this point, honestly, if you would come out and say, "Yeah, you know," no one would care. No one.
No,
No,
would
I know.
care.
Just own it.
It's
right?
so obviously fake.
A
at this
lot of
point.
people just Tom Arnold owns his hair plugs for years. He's going, yeah. I'm insecure. I don't look good bald, and I had this done. I like it. Just say it. Just say it.
Yeah.
Just own it.
Who cares?
Just own it.
Yep. Just get in front of it. Own it.
3 transplants, though. But the whole question there was about how you need to really take them. I mean, listen, I don't care what anybody on this chat says. That man at 31 years old is the biggest fucking moron to walk the face of the earth, to miss out on the opportunity of a heart transplant because you don't want to get the vaccine.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so now
I'm
you
not
are
questioning.
leaving 3 children, 3 babies.
But Monique, the point is, that guy is a sociopath. How you think Howard cares about these people?
No,
Do you
of
think he
course not.
cares about you and your right and your vaccination and you living long? He doesn't. He knows this is what you're supposed to say to the Hollywood elite left. This is what you're
Yes.
supposed to. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about me. I'm with him on the vaccination stuff, but I know he doesn't care about me and he doesn't care about you.
No.
And
No, he
that's
does it
what a
all for the
sociopath
ratings.
does.
He just does it
Yep.
so that
Wait, how do
we
we get
feel
here?
that he did something that was important.
He wants
And
Joe Scarborough to praise him when
Yes.
he watches it on his
Mika.
275 days. Mika Brzezinski.
He wants me to praise him.
It's low hanging fruit at this
Yes.
point. He knows that he's gonna get a little blurb on TMZ when he says XYZ. That's how it is. He doesn't care
That's
about
exactly
anybody
right.
but the publicity.
That's exactly right.
David writes up here. Howard's life is sort of like, well, entirely a long con in the sting. Oh, I'm not gay. I'm not bald. I'm not wealthy. My parents were horrible to me. I know.
The parental
And you
thing
gotta
really
hold it
just
up.
bugs the shit out of me. The fact that both of your parents are so old and they're basically on their deathbeds, and you still find the time to just berate them. I mean,
Yes.
and just. I just don't get it. I mean, yeah,
Lazy
I'll
radio.
berate my parents to anybody who will listen, but not on the radio. I mean,
He has
you
no
know,
new life experiences. He doesn't know anything else. He can't.
again,
same
nothing
note.
has ever happened to him.
Yep.
He's almost 70. He has both of his parents. He has
That is amazing.
palatial. It's unheard
There's
of.
nobody on the planet that has that. I don't think.
It's unheard of. Unless you live in like some small Chinese village where, where your parents both
everything's
pick
ginseng,
like beans
right.
for a living. Exactly. It doesn't
I mean,
it doesn't
at this
exist.
point, I wouldn't be surprised if Beth loses a parent before Howard does.
Oh my god, you're so right.
Point
Can
X.
you imagine
That's-
the complete Chernobyl-like event that was going to happen in Howard's life?
The Great
Is that what
House
happened?
Arrest in the Sky.
Oh my God.
But Rupert Pumpkin brings up the perfect name, John Travolta. That is the ultimate Hollywood hair plug denial for years and years, and he's finally said,
Exactly.
He went
let
bald
it
and
shine.
everybody
And he,
looked great.
and he looks better bald.
But you know what? He lost his son. He lost his wife. At some
He had
point, you just
tough
gotta
life,
say,
I know.
fuck it.
Yep.
Just fuck it. Who
Tough
cares?
that he got dealt a really bad
Yes,
back
he did.
nine of his life.
Yes, he did.
well,
yes, he did.
Yeah,
After
he had chills that
Tarantino.
were multiplying.
Oh my
Okay, so
God.
do I want to do the caller asks about ratings and listeners, and then we'll go to your clip?
Are we done with everything
Yes.
from
Yes.
that's a quote? Yeah, we're done with that, right? I mean, what else can we do? Yes,
That's
you're
it.
right.
We're done.
Let's go to all right. So we were talking about how he doesn't have ratings and he doesn't know how many listeners. So this is all the way back to 2007. A caller who I hope is Steve S from Philadelphia, who supplies me with all the obscure Howard stuff. Asked him, really, what are your ratings? How many listeners do you have? And this is Howard's company line back then, but even sounds like he doesn't want to say. So he makes up a weird. It's about a minute.
Okay, here we go. One moment.
Very rare moment of him.
Let's go to, boy, oh boy, we got a lot of calls coming in. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're on the air in Philadelphia.
Fake call.
Hey, Howard. Good
Hey
morning.
now. Good morning.
Since you came over to Sirius, the 5 million people came over with you. Does Sirius have a way to figure out how many people are listening to you in the morning?
Well, yeah, they have told me that they don't have specific ratings like radio has, regular radio.
Yeah.
But they do know that 60 or I mean, I've heard figures that these are not official, but they've said to me 60 to 70% of the subscribers are tuned into our channels, which is great.
Channels.
60% check us out at least. once a day or something like that. I don't know exactly how it works, how they can tell, but they said a lot of the listeners are listening to our channels.
I will never understand the metrics. And I told you guys the other day that I spoke to somebody who said they never tell them what their viewership
To keep them
is.
down.
But most people think it's about 600,000.
To keep Howard propped up, the silent partner, and to keep everybody else down. That's why you don't say it.
And so I was on the phone with Tim Sabian yesterday, was it?
Yes.
Yesterday. He's like, what you forget is that, we've been through 2 years of COVID, and serious numbers are like really, really down because they're not getting new subscribers because there weren't a lot of like new cars available.
That's what Jason Ellis said.
Be had. And so, nobody was buying a new car, and, everybody was working from home and streaming from home, and nobody really needs a Sirius. Like, you just don't need them anymore. They will go the way of Blockbuster. I really believe that. I really do.
This is what we love about sports. Whether you're a sports fan or not, sports is about merit, and the best of the best is doing it. We have statistics proving they're doing it, and the best of the best is what you're watching and get paid the most to do it. Unlike this, unlike music, unlike even here where there is a system, he knows exactly what it is. He is a silent partner, and he doesn't have to tell you. He doesn't have to abide by any of the rules everybody else does.
But
So in
nobody has to
sports-
abide by those rules. Like I said it yesterday, whoever it was who went in, they said, we're going to let you go. And he was like, well, why? And it's like, well, you're right. It's like, well, show me. It's like, well, we don't have anything tangible other than, the metrics that we get from like social media and stuff like that. They like not knowing.
Listen.
Of course.
You don't have to be beholden for that. Go
No.
ahead, Xavier. I'm sorry.
A lot is said, but what he didn't say. You don't think that he knows for a fact how many people listen, and the fact that he didn't give a straight answer, and he's so braggadocious. If he legitimately had the numbers that he thinks he would be all over it. We have this million, blah blah blah. The fact that he didn't give a number or anything that even resembles a number, it's very telling of where his show is.
But here's the way to go. I brought up Pat McAfee yesterday. I don't care if you like him. I don't care if you're a sports fan. Go look. Anybody gets a chance, go on YouTube. Go look at Pat McAfee's ratings. Not ratings. YouTube views and compare him to Howard's show. He's getting millions of people looking at that. And Howard's barely breaking six figures, if he's lucky, on a major A-lister. And if you're Pat McAfee, you bringing that to serious. Like, no, these are my ratings. This is who's looking at me. Why is Howard getting $4,000 a minute and I'm not?
Right. Yeah, you're right, Rupert Pumpkin. Sirius has the app for 11 years and the website for 15 years.
Yep.
So
you
they
can
know.
track it. You
You're so
easily
right.
can track
How do you
it.
not
So
track
easy.
it on the
You
app?
know when you're logging in. Exactly. When I'm on Monique's Sirius, she bumps me out. And that's how you know where it's going. But obviously they can track it. They know exactly where it's going.
Yes, you're so right. You're so right. I try not to compete
Yes,
with you
MZ.
because I know when you're usually on.
No, I don't care. I don't.
No, I know, but I'm happy for you to be there. But sometimes, yes, it's like somebody else is listening to this, and I'm like, okay, it's John listening to like sports.
And
or
that's
something
exactly right. It proves they know exactly who's
like that.
logging
Yeah,
on.
You're so right. You're so right.
He knows the numbers. He knows that the numbers are a dud at this point.
Please, I would greatly appreciate if anybody tells me where or if they have a picture of JD's wife. I want to see so badly what she looks
She's
like.
attractive. She's cute girl.
She's a cute girl.
Really?
Yeah. She's exactly what out of their league. Everybody's out of their league. All those Morlock mutants, marrying girlfriends
By
out
the
of
way,
their league.
I did Gmail her today. I sent her a Gmail saying, "Oh my God, I cannot believe you are allowing your husband to do this bet with Richard Christie. Like, I really can't believe it."
Somehow Rupert Pumpkin has a ratings book. Nobody else does. To know who this Rupert Pumpkin is.
Well, it's interesting. I had gotten a ratings book one time, and did they also like put a fresh, crisp dollar bill in there to like entice you to spend a week of your time filling out this like gigantic pamphlet of radio stations? I remember they used to do that all the time. Mo, did I clear my inbox? I don't understand what that means. Abe took us.
Hey, quick question.
What?
How long are those free subscriptions usually? 6 months, right? When you
No,
buy a
I
car?
think it's 3 months.
Is it 3 months?
Oh, so it's 3 months. So you think about that for a second. If that means that they're not having an influx of new cars subscribers that are getting that 3-month subscription, and all the ones that had him are pretty much done with.
Yes.
So his ratings are probably in the dick at this
But
point.
like you said yesterday, when the internet is figured out and Wi-Fi in your car, they are done. They are done. Why would
Oh,
you
dude,
choose
yeah.
them?
At this point, it's done for me. I mean, I only listen to do the show.
If you the last commercial for the last year now, Sirius's big move has been like, you don't need a head unit. You can just get it now through the internet. They've been kind of pushing towards that model. Versus
They used to force you to buy the equipment. That was the scam in the beginning.
Well,
No, you guys, no joke. I still get emails from them asking if I would like to buy a stiletto.
Yep.
Like just in time for Christmas. Purchase your. It's like who would buy? Who needs that in this world?
It's so bad that I literally, my subscription was many years ago. When I was done, they wouldn't let me cancel. Like literally, it was like, pass me to Haji, pass me to Afif, pass me to this guy, and like, oh no, we give you 10 years for $5. Like, no man, I'm done. And they would, and I finally just hung up and just canceled the credit card payment, and that was it.
Yeah.
It's like, because these people are like freaking those guys that con old people on the internet for their life savings.
I love this. I have a stiletto I canceled in 2010 that I think still connects.
Probably.
Those stupid names, Sportster and Starmate. I got your Starmate radio, pal.
All right. So our last clip of the night is going to be Johnny, who apparently wrote an email to the Stern
No, it's the
show.
second to last. We have the Costas and
Costas,
comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me find that. Bob Costas, Schadenfreude?
Yeah, I'm saying there's two of them because I want to compare. So this is shoot.
I have Schadenfreude, Dana Plato, and
Yes.
Schadenfreude by
So that's
Costas.
That's our Dana Plato show.
Okay.
Where we're talking about I'm bringing up Schadenfreude to Shane Bugby, who is Dana Plato's handler.
Right.
And then Bob Costas comes on the Squinty McDonald show and uses this, and then he uses a talking point that only you've brought up. And it's the crazy, color me delusional, I don't care. It is the craziest parallel thinking I've ever heard to use this word. And then he explains it exactly as I do. Could very well be a coincidence. It's just so strange.
All right, let's hear.
So let's play ours first.
Are these people caring that much about Dana Plato, who hasn't been in the world's eye for at least, 8-10 years at this point?
Yeah. Yep.
Why do these people hate and care so much?
It's the Schadenfreude show. It truly is.
Explain that word.
You don't know what that means, Mr. You're the Julian Schnabel of Chicago. It's a. It means the.
It's so funny.
It's it means the malicious enjoyment of other people's failures and misfortunes and tragedies.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, why throwing them in the lion's pit? Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
the show is built on that. Like you said, you identified the fan.
I don't think I've ever played a clip of us on a clip on our show.
I can't think of it. We must have once, at least once.
No,
it's so
never.
pompous to do that.
Typical Stern fan is that guy who loves and hates and hates and hates.
And with Dana, there's a sexual energy. There's a lot of young kids that were 10, 12, 13, jerking off. That was the only thing coming across the TV that was.
Right, she was like she was the precursor to like a Kelly Bundy without that
Millie Bobby Brown.
Without that sexuality though, but she didn't have that innate sexuality. She was a cute girl who they found sex.
We're so smart. I love our shows. I
love
really
your
listen back
comparison
to
to Christina Applegate, who was the homecoming queen of the Fox network, with Johnny Depp being the homecoming king, starting the Fox network. I love that comparison.
So now, are we going to go to a parallel of Bob Costas? Is that why we did this?
So this is Bob Costas on the Squinty McDonald show. But then he goes on to make a point you make on a lot of where you say Howard has unlimited time. It's so eerie how he has to be listening. I don't know. I'm not accusing him of anything. I just think the parallel thinking is just gave me the chills.
Does he know that he used to live next door to me?
He better. Costas is
that you might see yourself being on that show, or have you enjoyed how he's evolved? And because I know I've heard you talk about that a little bit, that it's been interesting to see him.
Who show is this?
Squinty McDonald.
Who's that?
Faux McDonald.
Oh, I've never even heard his voice. I had no idea. I just like making fun of Faux McDonald, Faux Norm, but I didn't know that this was his show. Okay, cool.
More softballs than Rosie O'Donnell in high school.
Right, half zip guy, right?
Yeah.
Change his sort of way he goes about doing his radio show.
He is an exceptional interviewer. And you could always tell that he was an extraordinary radio talent.
Interesting with the shitty audio.
Yeah, it's
Thank you,
constant.
everybody who complains about our show on a constant basis. Okay.
But for my taste, some of that talent was misdirected. There was a lot of mean-spirited stuff, Schadenfreude type stuff, reveling in other people's misfortune or humiliation.
Isn't that
type
weird?
of thing. You could tell that he was talented and capable of better than that. But now on Sirius XM, it's a whole different thing. He has all the time in the world to develop a subject, to delve into an interview. And more often than not, it's very, very good. He's one of the best interviewers on any broadcast platform. And he's obviously very intelligent. And he's obviously also curious. Even when he's talking with someone where it's kind of outside his expertise or knowledge, and he's not really a big-time sports fan, and you can tell that he doesn't have some of the particulars like you might.
Of course he doesn't. You think he makes those questions up out of his ass by himself? You think all those little sticky notes are about questions he wants to ask Tom Brady? I mean, really,
is
what's wrong with you people?
that newish fan who, but again, he knew to say. I thought that saying Schadenfreude is the weirdest choice of words.
Weirdest. Nobody uses that word but you.
It's exactly, but he explains it like I do. So then he quotes you in a way because you're the only one that said, he's the only one in the world that has 2 hours with the subject.
He has the time. He has all the time. Okay, so somebody's saying I must be a 79 because I have no idea what we're listening to. Okay, so
come on, Abe.
So we're going to give you a little setup, Abe Tuckus, that basically the first clip that we played was an interview that John and I did with a guy named Shane Bugbee, and it was called The Death of Dana Plato, and it is on this station because Bon Jovial remastered it so that it would be perfect for the YouTube audience. So he was playing a clip of him and I interviewing Shane and using the word Schadenfreude, which we always use, and it's such a John.
Years.
It's a John word to use whenever talking about the Howard Stern show. And so the next thing he played was Faux Norm. Now, Faux Norm, I don't even know what his real name is, nor do I even give a rat's ass, but he's a guy that for some reason is obsessed with getting every single person who has ever been on the Stern show ever on his show. And so he has these discussions with them. And I guess he did this interview with Bob Costas, and Bob was using like some of the lingo that we would normally use in any of our shows, both past and present. So if you weren't, sorry, because some people just don't know, John. They don't listen to our
I know.
So but, that was a good thing to actually explain that to them.
With this guy, I assume, and I'm just I tinkered around, and I know he has. So he works in like Major League Baseball TV, and I know the guys from Howard TV, when they were scrambling for jobs, had dipped into sports. And my theory is he worked with guys from Howard TV post their time on Howard TV, so he has all these ins with all these different people. He's also this like sort of this boring ass baseball nerd, but and his whole thing is St. Louis baseball, and the last thing you want to hear is baseball repartee in January and February. And Bob Costas is a lifelong St. Louis native. He's back even when you lived by him, Monique. He's always at a place in St. Louis. I think he was the play-by-play guy for the Spirits of St. Louis. Was an ABA team. So he kept a residence there, and he went back and forth. And Costas, he must know Costas from that St. Louis baseball.
That's
circuit.
totally true.
Yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips says nobody mentions the Dana Plato episode. Completely disgusting. We always mention the Dana.
I love it.
And actually, when we had the original RadioGunk YouTube channel that was just peaking out at around like 9,000 viewers, subscribers, we had done a Dana Plato show, and it must have, I think it probably got somewhere around like 10 or 12,000 views. It's back up on YouTube now as a different, just a little bit different than when we had originally done it. But yeah, we dig into exactly how he abused the shit out of her that day, and how she was feeling really vulnerable and just horrible, and how she OD'd that weekend.
The callers
and
just
that
eviscerated
Shane
her.
Bugby actually played us the audio of him on air with her, and how the guy she was with put the phone to her ear so that he could talk to her and see if he could wake her up, but she was already dead at that point.
The next day. You think it's a coincidence?
Thanks.
How sensitive and fragile she was. She's listening to this, and she takes it all. She's a sweet little young actress who just wouldn't hurt a fly. And some people just cannot
She is
handle
your
that ribbing.
classic. Thank you, Sin. She is that classic girl, though, who was a child actress who could not handle her childhood into adulthood
couldn't make the
scenario.
transition.
And that happens to so many kids
So many
from
people.
that era of TV. You know, that they just couldn't handle their
They didn't think that
popularity
far
and
ahead. They
then
weren't
the
savvy
subsequent
to
fall.
prepare. You know?
Because they all fall, every single
Yep.
one of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It's just so you all know, it's something that I'm actually working really, really hard on to do as a separate podcast for this channel at some point. You know, we should put the Deppening and everything all on like one channel. We should have
I
like
know.
a channel. You know,
I was thinking about uploading.
Like Aftershock.
Yeah, merge it. The merging.
No, we should have something, not even gunk. I mean, it would just be something that's like under a brand, and that we can put all of our podcast stuff.
It's just like the
into one
merging of
place.
Sirius and XM. Let's hype the merger for the next 2 years.
Exactly. Radio Gunk, only thing talking about Stern these days.
Which,
All the people
Monique,
getting references right here.
You know,
Yeah,
Sarah. You know, Sara plays hardball though. She's not. Her agents are gonna go crazy.
Yeah, I know. Well, you have her people talk to my people.
Yeah,
That's the way we'll
I'll be
do
the
it.
conduit. I'll be the. I'll be the mediator.
Reacher will actually be the mediator. You know, we only talk dog in this house.
And
that's it.
Anthony in the chat, he writes, I hope Xavier mentioned this before the show. He's now synonymous with pink eye. Because I hope Bob Costas doesn't catch pink eye again in the Olympic season. Just a little just a little prelude. Just a little prelude, Anthony. If we do cleaning out the computer next week, I have a great clip from the birthday bash of the sort of who's who of the Me Too movement, where Matt Lauer wishes Howard a happy birthday from the rape site where he gets accused of rape from Beijing.
The rape site. The rape site. I bet you he still talks to him on the QT.
I would love to know what Matt Lauer's up to.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
In Sag Harbor.
Hey, listen, everybody, I'm really sorry for yesterday just like blowing the show off like immediately. I didn't even do a good night. It was just that I was kind of getting tired.
The Irish
and
exit.
I had to pee so badly that I couldn't even like have a discussion. Although we did stay on the air with each other and sing along to Rapper's Delight. So there was that.
It was amazing.
That was amazing.
Do we all have friends who did the Irish exit to us?
Oh my God, I do
When
it
we
all
were
the time.
out?
I'm known for that.
You're good at it, right? You're
Oh my
aren't
God,
you?
I do it all the time.
So you're imitating real life with that. That's how you are when you go out.
This is how I am anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime, anywhere, any place. I will not say goodbye. I just leave. If I have to go home, I have to go home, and that's it. I just got to go. I don't care.
I'm not good at saying goodbye either, because it could take 45 minutes.
Forever, and then you
Yep.
have to say goodbye to everybody. I have Irish exited weddings. I have left.
Thank you, Ida.
I have left in the middle of like a Broadway show. I actually left in the middle of a show called Urinetown, and I was with 4 people, and I just turned and looked at them, and I was like, I gotta go. And I just got up in the middle of the show, like not even halftime or anything. Middle of the friggin' show, I was like, I gotta go, and I just went home.
Cindy Lou Who soon.
Thank you so much,
Very
Ida.
soon.
What? What's in Lou?
Cindy
Say
Lou
what?
Who wants to know when Mr. Whisker's going to spill the beans.
Oh my God, yes. Can we do that, Xavier? When you're feeling better? Come on, you can't just leave things like that. You just cannot. It's just not nice. It's just not nice.
Is that the wind up? Is he going into it?
No, I don't think he
No,
is.
no,
No,
not
he's
today.
got to get a script together.
You know what? Maybe next week, since there's going to be nothing to talk about. We can do a
Yes,
little
so we'll do a cleaning out
Hollywood
the
moment.
computer, and then maybe Mr. Whiskers can come on and give us a couple of things. And then John and I talked about actually doing, and I think Xavier hung up on me when I said this to him. We talked about doing like a marathon day.
Oh yeah.
Then people could just come in and out of the show, and I can't imagine that would happen. But we could try. We could try one day.
Some boring Saturday post NFL, late February.
When there's nothing else on TV,
Yep.
nothing going on. Exactly. All right. Oh my God! You know that I walked out on Urinetown. I hated that. Did I ever? I mentioned that I walked out on Urinetown. I've walked out on Urinetown. Hairspray. Swan Lake. Book of Mormon. Master Harold and the Boys. Kinky Boots.
Do you feel trapped in these plays? Like
Yes.
you can't get out of your seat,
Yes.
you
Yes.
can't move. It's way
Yes.
different than you are too locked in, right? And
Yes.
if there's a dialogue lull, the star of Uncle Vanya is not going to take it.
It's not even that. Sometimes I can't even wait till halftime.
dare
But meanwhile,
you.
I will buy tickets by myself to go see Harry Potter in 2 parts, and it'll be like on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, and I'll be the first one in line and just enjoy every single moment of it. But when it's a spectacular, you just watch it. If
Yeah.
it's boring and the show is stupid, it's just I walk out. But there was a time in my life when I would get tickets for free, and so I went to see everything. And I lived on the West Side, so I was home and I wasn't really doing anything of any note, and it would be a Wednesday and a shitty rainy day outside, so I would go on StubHub, see what's playing. Most of it was like within 2 blocks of me, and just go see it. So I have seen absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Not anymore, but I did. All right, so yes, next week we will do a cleaning out the computers. David is requesting Gina Gershon claiming she slept with Howard. What's that about?
She was on the show once in
Yeah.
2004. I don't think she admitted to it, but they were hinting around. There's also a time when speaking of the Stern Girls, he took his daughters. I think it was just Ashley. Could have been the older one. Could have been Emily, or Deborah, to Gina Gershon's play, which is funny. David's bringing that up because it completely ties into what we're talking about. Gina Gershon was on something in Broadway, and Howard took his kids to see it.
Yeah.
And they met Gina Gershon after the show.
Yeah. I don't know why I walked out on Book of Mormon. I think I was in a bad mood. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, mood is so
And
important
you know
to
what?
anything.
I'm so bad when I get something for free, then I don't give it the attention and the what it deserves. So I think to myself, well, if
You're
I could, I can pay
allowed
for
not
it,
to
so I don't
like
care.
it though. Just because everybody tells you have to like a play doesn't mean you have to love it too. You're
It's
allowed
okay.
to have your own.
I wouldn't do it again, and I would love to see Book of Mormon in its entirety. Randall Marsh says, Wendy the retard is getting fatter and fatter by the second and more unhealthy. Why doesn't her mother put her into a group home? She can maybe get the proper health she truly needs. So,
Howard's got room.
One time I was walking down 8th Avenue, and they had just done a Wendy segment. This was before we were doing the show, or maybe right at the beginning of it. And I see her and her mother walking towards the hotel that I guess Howard and company put them up in. And her mother is tremendous. I mean, they both of them, they wear like those things that look like floral curtains that are sewn into like short sleeved tents, and both of them kind of like walk down the street, like this. They just both kind of wobbled down the street, and they smelled, and they were really kind of gross. And I remember posting it on Dog Shed that like, oh my God, I just
I
literally
remember
ran
that. I
into
remember that.
Wendy and her mother. And I probably had pictures of it on my old phone too, which I posted up on there. And but I remember that they smelled like you would think that a Wendy the retard smells like.
You can individually point out their smell in New York's 8th Avenue that must be bad.
I could point out the
they're
smell of anything.
overriding the smell of the other New York sounds.
I could point out the smell of anything. I really, I just.
You got the Wolverine.
I do have the Wolverine.
senses. Yep.
I do have the Wolverine nose. Yeah,
Was
she
it
does
like a
wear
fine
circus tats. You're
Limburger?
exactly right. What, baby?
Never mind.
I'll recognize that stink anywhere. That's Sabretooth.
All right, we're gonna wrap up the show. It is an hour.
One more
49.
clip.
Oh my
email.
God, one more clip. Oh, right.
The email. Howard reads.
Howard reads my email, meaning John, about
the last one.
Artie on Conan. All right, so we're gonna end the show
There's
with
a-
this,
Let's do
and
it.
then we're gonna leave you all because it's an hour 50 already on a Wednesday night. I don't know if that means anything, but you know what I
It
mean.
means something to me.
No, you be quiet.
Some people in the email were complaining you weren't good.
Oh.
Most people said you were good. I thought you were good. I thought you were really good, as a matter of fact. I only wish some of my guests on here could be that good.
I'd like to host a luncheon with a lot of the email guys and try to get to the bottom.
Yeah, one guy said that he accused you of, let's see.
Their accusations, big.
He accused Artie of going to the same joke every time.
Yes.
What's up with Artie not telling us that he'd be on?
What?
Let me just say, my email. So it's a string of emails he reads about Artie's appearance on Conan, and they're all not turning on him, but they're kind of calling him out on certain stuff. My email is the last one he reads, and it's kind of like verbatim. You know.
So this is Artie looking
It's
his
a
most
string of-
disgusting with his
Yep.
like stained brown jacket and looking like shit and all that stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're just
Conan,
about
that
to go
was
to
one
series.
thing. If I would have stayed up late to see him. The producers of the show were hoping for big ratings when Artie doesn't say anything about it. You baby gorilla. Here a guy goes, Artie, great show. You and Conan were great, but how bad does it suck to be going around sober promoting It's the Whiskey Talk? And I thought of that too, actually.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Such is life.
Boy, I can't wait for It's the Whiskey Talking too.
Now this guy says, I'm still waiting for your release of I'm crapping my pants on heroin.
That's a catchy title.
Yeah. I know it's going to be hell for you, Artie. The pressure from people to get back to be thick, whatever that means. Stay strong. I quit smoking after about 10 years when you guys had that woman from Prevention Magazine on. Thanks for that. Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to be sober now too.
Here's the criticism. How many times is Artie going to repeat that lame joke about waking up in a cop car?
It's on the DVD, but I've never done it on Conan before.
No. The punchline is that Artie wakes up in the car
He sounds really shitty. I bet you he was like all drugged out at this point.
and realizes that he's driving. I honestly thought the joke was funny the 100th time I've heard it. So you must have your DVD.
Right. It's probably.
Howard's also
Yeah.
trying to.
Another guy claims the same thing that you've been using that.
The other stories from the Conan appearance aren't on the DVD.
They didn't mind those, Artie. It was just that one.
I mean, Jesus.
Coming up now.
Here's another guy. For some reason, this just dawns on me that Artie these days is the guy who has the DVD called It's the Whiskey Talk, and the drunken joke in his act is his mantra. You know, you're drunk when you're naked, you're under arrest.
Right. It's my mantra now.
And now a straight to DVD movie called Beer League. His whole effort, persona, and career is predicated on alcohol. And he can't drink anymore. Wah.
Well,
That's like...
That's you?
Yeah, that whole thing's mine.
Nice.
It goes on actually a little bit after this.
Oh, I'm gonna play it.
Mark Hamill swearing off science fiction and superhero animation for the rest of his career.
Well, look what happened to him.
Take alcohol away from Marty, you've got Scott the engineer.
Oh, dear. Now, there's an insult.
Oh, that I
thought that was good.
There I might agree with him.
Robin got insulted, too.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Good one, Johnny.
I think I probably sent about 100 in. Oh, that's the only one that got read. Although one time they actually used questions for Bruce Hornsby that I sent them. They knew nothing about Bruce, and I sent them a gaggle of Bruce Hornsby, and they used it. About 5 of them, too.
So we have a music request from Abe Tuckus,
Oh,
owner
no.
of a lonely heart.
Wow, really?
Owner of a lonely heart, much better than owner of a broken heart, much better. Owner of a lonely heart. Owner of a lonely.
Thanks for hanging with us tonight. Please join us for any discussion at RadioGunk.com in the forums section. Follow us on Instagram or Twitter at RadioGunk. And don't forget to like this and subscribe to us and hit that little bell so that you know when we're going to have a new show. Thanks.